for a whole month, I did this, and after a month, nothing changed. I still didn't believe it. The only thing that changed was it became a habit. And soon after, I just started believing in it. I make healthy choices. I just want to give thanks to Heavenly Father for this opportunity, to be able to go through everything that I have gone through and to be able to be here today.
Sione Kaloa moved to Idaho Falls earlier this year after having served time in prison. He's now a life coach who helps others acquire communication and various life skills, and he works with clients of all ages. He's hosting an event in the next few weeks to give back to people in need, and he's here to talk about that via Zoom from his home in Idaho Falls. Sione, thanks for taking some time with me today.
Thank you, Rhett. I appreciate this.
You have quite a story as someone who spent some time in prison, which I want to get into. But let's start first of all with this event you have coming up. It's October 11th to 13th, and it's at the Jefferson County Fairgrounds. You have a vehicle that you're going to give to families in need, but you're doing it in a unique way. Do you want to tell me about that?
Yeah, we're gonna be hosting a 3 day event. It's gonna be a Domino's. It's called Pig Roast and Bones, and so bones is another word for dominoes. And so we're running rather than pulling names from a hat. We're going to be running a Domino's tournament. Individuals who sign up to receive the vehicle, um, they'll be given a chance, and then there's the individuals who come to play dominoes. They'll be divvied up to represent for these families. The families will stay anonymous, so that way there's not individuals who take on a name and they're like, man, I don't really like this family, so I'm just going to play poorly. So there would only be certain individuals who would know the numbers, two individuals just to be held accountable, and those individuals will not be playing dominoes. And so after the event is said and done, and the winners come out, then the family who they represented would be receiving the vehicle. It's not a brand new vehicle by any means. It's a 2017 Chevy Traverse, but it would help. And we're not looking for picky individuals. We're looking for individuals who absolutely just need the vehicle. And so maintenance and detailing are being done by a company out here, Rad Auto Detailing. Um, awesome company. They're doing this all for free, and so I'm just grateful for you know businesses in our community who are willing to do this for others. So just want to shoot them up. Yep.
And that's happening again October 11th through 13th at Jefferson County Fairgrounds. But that event is open to the public. So,
Yes.
but what's the time for that event?
And so Saturday, come at noon. We're going to be hosting a lot of different free workshops, and at these workshops, you're going to be able to acquire different tools and skills that would help you in your relationship between you and your significant other, you and your kids, or for you individually, you and your bosses. Any kind of situation that you're in, you're able to take these skills and just do better. And so that's the goal. It's just to help everybody in our community be able to learn to communicate, how to express feelings, suicide prevention. We'll be running CPR and first aid training, some emergency preparedness. We're going to be running some groups that would consist in those areas. And so we're still looking for individuals who would like to come and train at these workshops. And so they're just giving up of their time, whether it's professionals or just individuals in our community who would like to be involved in teaching families anything. Families or individuals or are the young ones of our community different life skills and tools.
Okay, so October 11th through 13th on that at the Jefferson County Fairgrounds. Sione, you just started this venture as a life coach earlier this year in May. Um, and that your motivation for that kind of stems from your life background. You were telling me before we started recording here that you spent some time in prison in 2015 for about 3 years on charges of grand theft and various other crimes. Do you want to tell me about your journey, like how you ended up in prison, your story prior to that?
So I feel it all stemmed back when my father had passed away when I was about 2 years old. Our culture, my parents come from Tonga, and so our culture is different than what you guys would have here in America. And but there's a difference between discipline and abuse. And so there's a fine line between that. And with that being said, I believe in our culture we do a lot of disciplining, but there is a lot of sometimes you can just take it too far when you are angry. Was beat most of my life, um, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. And so I just, yeah, I believed way less of myself. I felt always felt worthless. I always felt like I was never good enough. I felt stupid all the time. I was in special reading classes, and so I never believed in myself academically. Uh, when I was about when I was about 12, I started ditching school all the time. I just felt stupid, and they gave me a counselor. It was a trailer that his office was in, and he just told me anytime that I was going to ditch, just come in here and hang out. He didn't try to diagnose me or talk to me. I didn't even know what a counselor was. For some reason, they just gave me this dude. When he left for 2 weeks, when he came back, he went on a vacation to Hawaii. And when he came back, there's a town in Hawaii. It's called Kaloa Town or Kaloa. And so he bought me a T-shirt. It said Kaloa Town on it, and he gave that T-shirt to me. This is the first time that I felt like anybody cared. So the whole reason why I do what I do is from that time, because I felt I wanted to always make somebody else feel this way, the way that this dude made me feel. And I don't know where that dude is, but I'm very appreciative of him and what he's done. And because people like that really matter to people like me. And so it allowed me to feel like I mattered for the first time. But my home relationships and all of that, it just it over I didn't know how to deal with anything that I was going through. And so at one point I felt so like nobody would even care if I was here. And so the night that I was going to commit suicide, my worst enemy, which was my sister, she became my bestest friend. For some reason, she came into my room, and yeah, she stopped that whole situation, and she taught me that if nobody else cares, I shouldn't care neither. Long story short, got into drugs and alcohol from there. Ended up getting expelled from school, from high school, for smoking marijuana on campus. Was kicked out, put into alternative school. At this time, I was 16 years old, and so they let me take the GED, and I miraculously passed it. I didn't even study for it. Was given the option to go to work since I got my GED or go back to school, and so I took going to work, and that's when I got into heavier drugs, meth and what have you, and then I was just in and out of jail for probation violations until I there was not one time where I was out more than a year before I got locked up again. And so I just spent a lot of time inside. Finally, I got frustrated with being locked up all the time. And I told the judge one of the charges that I caught. I just told the judge, man, send me to prison. He did. They kicked me out, and I just was put onto parole. I met my wife in 2008. She was from Las Vegas, Nevada. Oh, well, we met in Las Vegas, Nevada. She's from Rexburg, Idaho. And so we met in 2008, got married in 2008. We brought our daughter into this world. We were blessed with our daughter, with our princess, and in 2009. And then 2000 and that same year that she was born, I got into pills because I jumped off of a cliff with my in-laws, jumped off of a high cliff. All my whole back got compressed, and they put me on pain meds, and that was the worst drug. That was my favorite. Got into drugs heavily, selling drugs, hung out in the streets, thought it was more important than taking care of my family. and of my wife and my daughter. Ended up getting we moved up to Rexburg in 2011. Got into a fight with my in-laws, and then I got into a high-speed chase. My first high-speed chase was here in Madison County, and then they locked me up, and I got bailed out by my sister, and I shot back to St. George, Utah, and I became the worst person that I've ever been. And that was all the way until I came to visit my daughter in 2012.
That's when you were convicted on charges of grand theft.
Yes, grand theft auto, stole a truck from a farmland out in Minnecaja County, and after being in a high speed chase, got away, ran alongside the highway, stole a truck at some farmland, and wrecked that truck. And we wrecked it pretty bad. We should have. I don't see why we didn't fall over the cliff, but the truck stopped right at the edge of the cliff on its side, and we should have just tilted off. The cops came pick us up, and we got put into jail.
And you were ended up being charged with grand theft, and there were several other charges.
Yep,
It was 2 years fixed and 8 years indeterminate. You ended
yep,
up serving 3.5 years ultimately.
yep.
How is it you were able to get out earlier than the sentence?
One of the biggest learning experiences that they've given me. There's this lady. Her name is Miss Peach. She's a Russian lady, and so she's like this tall, hardened. She doesn't take no crap from nobody, and she's a counselor therapist lady. She gave me this learning experience, which was to give myself 3 positive affirmations in the mirror every single morning, every single morning when I wake up, and nobody would have known that I've done this. And she told me to do this for a month, and this was the hardest learning experience that I've ever undertaken in my whole entire life. Because when I'm sitting there trying to tell myself these positive things in the mirror, I don't believe not any of it. And so 3 positive affirmations such as I am strong, I am capable, I am worthy. And so for a whole month, I did this. And after a month, nothing changed. I still didn't believe it. The only thing that changed was it became a habit. And soon after, I just started believing in it. I make healthy choices. And so I just started making healthier choices. I started believing in myself. I started applying myself. I started holding myself accountable. I started doing all these things. I started changing the way that I had viewed myself, because for so long I had just been beat. I just been beat and built to believe that I was just this low individual, and which was not the case at all. So, anyways, that's been one of the greatest blessings from this program was that building my self worth, and so that's what I do now.
In this capacity as a life coach, you teach youth and others some of these same uh, habits.
Yep,
Just like you were taught to say these affirmation statements to yourself, I would imagine you teach similar things, and you hook them up with other people who can teach them other healthy behavioral skills to succeed in life.
yep.
That's great. And so you started this in May. In that time, how many clients have you acquired?
One of the very first individuals that I was able to help was my father-in-law and my daughter, be able to communicate and be able to go through a situation that was highly frustrating within their home setting. So it was super simple. That was the turning point. And at the end of that conversation, they were crying. They were crying. I was crying. I was crying because it felt so good to watch these two be able to feel heard. And so after that whole scenario, just was helping random, people that I run into on the streets.
Sione, thank you for your time. Thank you for your story.
Thank you,
Um,
Red.
Anything else you want to add in just the first last few seconds we have?
I just For me, I just want to give thanks to Heavenly Father for this opportunity, to be able to go through everything that I have gone through, and to be able to be here today.